we are again. It is Saturday the 25th of February. We are on 75% humidity and 4.8 degrees Celsius. How are you all doing? I am very well. I wanted to show you, I'm very excited. I've been to Wilco's this morning because I haven't had a chance during the week. It's never open when I'm not at work, and look what I've got. I thought I had loads of jalapeno, so straight into it, sorry. I thought I had loads of jalapeno seeds, and when I went to sow them, I didn't. You guys know that because I've panicked about it on here. So I also got some sweet pepper Romanos, and I also picked up some Frigatello seeds as well. £2. Anyway, so lots of Wilco and 1 Johnson seeds. And I'm going to get those sown now because none of the pepper seeds that I've put in, the tomatillo came up, ground cherry didn't, and not one pepper has come up. So I don't think it was warm enough, but now I've got the propagator set up in the greenhouse. I'm going to get these sown and I'm going to get them in there. And if it's going to be frosty or anything like that overnight, because I think the propagator can only raise the heat by about 15 degrees Celsius. I'm not sure if that's made up. I think I remember that. I think I read that somewhere. So that won't be warm enough if it's going to really drop on a night, and all I'll have to do is insulate it with a blanket or something like that. We'll figure that one out. But I need to get these in today because this is later than normal. It says you can sow them February to April. If I sowed them in April here in the northeast of England, I probably wouldn't have enough time to get them ripened, even in a greenhouse. So the earlier the better for me here. If people are in warmer climates or you've got longer daylight or anything like that, it'll be a totally different story. We unfortunately don't have the luxury of that all the time here. We do have other benefits though. It's very pretty in the countryside. So I'm going to go and get these sown, and then we will get busy and I'll tell you what else we've got going on. I tell you what, it might be 4 or 5 in the shed or whatever it was, but it's a lot cooler outside. I think, what was it? Did you see? Was it 2 or 3 degrees? Anyway, it feels a lot colder. It's when you know there's a bite in the air, but it's not actually windy. It's a little bit looking at that tree. So anyway, I've got my my funky head thingy-majiggy on. I need to get tidied up in here. It's just a gardener's excitement. It's just everywhere. And thank you for the recommendations for the seed organising stuff. I have looked at those the different photograph containers before. I'm just not sure I'll even get away with that. I'm not sure what I'll do at the moment. I'm still using the bags because anything that I've sown is going straight into the carrier bag, so that I know that they're kind of early sowings, and then maybe next year I'll just pull that out. Anything that I've sown that hasn't worked, so those pepper seeds, I'll take those out and I'll bin them, because if they're not going to come up, I'm not even going to give them a second chance, because I do think it might be because I left them in the greenhouse in the heat of the summer last year. We had like temperatures that were unheard of. And I think I've probably just fried the seeds, to be honest. So I'll leave them a little bit longer in the house. If they don't work, those seeds will go the distance. Anyway, so this morning I'm going to get these seeds in, the pepper seeds I've just shown you. Might get tidied up in here, but I've got a few other seeds that I want to get in. It's all about the seeds still at the moment. And I'll show you what those are going to be. And I need to get some more rosemary, because it seems to be that we have lamb every Saturday at the moment, and we are doing that again today. I've just made a decision. This compost is soaking wet still. I'm not happy with it. It's a bit too wet, so I've been and got another bag from the shed. It feels a bit lighter in weight, as in to carry, so I'm hoping it's going to be a bit dry. But I just wanted to show you something. Look at this. Those kale plants that I put outside last week. Do you remember? Notice the problem? It's literally completely gone. Something's had it. Okay, there you go. There's a lesson to yourself, Tracy. Something has completely munched that away. I don't believe it. This is why we need backup plants. This was the one that I took off because it was flowering. I genuinely can't believe that. Oh, but while I'm here, sorry, go off on a different tangent. These are the plants that overwintered, so I just want to take these bottom leaves off and let the middle bit grow on. I'll give this to the chickens, and the same on this one. But these are the Portuguese. Are the Portuguese kale, Tracy? Yes, they are. So hopefully these will come on and they won't just flower, because they're looking okay. Let's take them off this one as well, and that's new growth in the middle there. So hopefully these will come along and we'll be able to eat from these. This one I'm not so sure. But we'll see. We'll keep our fingers crossed. So there was another one here where my footprints are, and there was another one there which has been eaten. But yeah, clearly I'm going to have to make sure I net everything. Goodness me. Those poo chickens can't wait to get out. I can't wait for them to get out. Lambs are shouting at us. They'll enjoy those little bits of kale there. I'm actually going to get some off the perennial kale as well. Not now. I'm going to get these seeds sown first. You know, I'm like getting distracted. So we'll get those seeds sown and then I'll go get some more, because the perennial kale, I noticed some of the leaves are starting to brown a little bit again. So I really want to try and stay on top of that, because that's going to be my backup plan in case any of the other greens fail. The other thing I was thinking about, I said I was going to get the onions and garlic out first on last week's video. I need to get these cauliflowers out, but I'm glad, it's almost as if it was meant to happen. I'm glad that kale has been eaten as a bit of a sacrificial plant, so that I know any of these that go out must be netted straight away. I'm hoping it's something like a pigeon or something that a netting will, protect. I can't believe that. Right, let's open this compost and see if it's drier than the other one, and I'm going to get these seeds in now before I get distracted again. You can't really see, but in my excitement I've put them in without showing you. So we've got sweet romano, jalapeno and frigatello peppers all sown there, and they're just in the propagator for now. I am not sure, looking at the temperatures for the next few nights rather, that this is going to be suitable. It's 24 in there at the moment. But we're going to get really, really cold temps, so I'll make a decision on that and I'll keep you posted. But really now I need to be looking at pricking out all of the seedlings that they obviously don't need pricking out, they just need planting. I need to figure something out for that. I think I have an idea. And these lettuce, oh my goodness, look at those turnip. Sugar, I should have multi-sown those turnip. Do you remember me saying? Anyway, it's done. Okay, decisions need to be made. Look at this. This is the crimson in these two here. Which one are you in? You're not. You're bunions. But I thought that might be crimson. Anyway, oh my goodness, there's so much to do. Right, let's get busy. I'm going to spend the rest of my gardening time outside. This is why I'm so pleased that I've got the beds ready as to where they are, because people always say preparation is key, and I'm terrible for just getting straight into the seed sowing and then thinking, right, we'll go and get them planted, and the beds aren't ready. The beds are ready. I just need to stay on top of the weeds, which I am. Everything is looking good outside, so I can take the time now and just sit down in here. I'm going to put a podcast on or an audiobook or something or other, and I'm just going to get busy pricking out and putting into smaller pots and all of the business. So every week when I go for chicken food, I am picking up some extra compost if I need it, because they've got it on offer there at the moment. So I'm good for compost as well. So I'm feeling like I'm actually on top of things. It's a really nice feeling. And thank you for pointing out in the comments that you've noticed that I'm not feeling overwhelmed anymore. I'm actually enjoying it. I'm loving it. It's amazing. I'm loving it. I'm actually going to go grab a coffee, because I'm going to be in here for a little while. And let's get the greenhouse back in order, because it is a little bit disordered in here with all the seeds and things, and I think that'll end up getting a little bit much. So as part of the pricking out, when I need a break, because your neck ends up hurting. I don't know how these teenagers do it, and they're just looking at the phones all the time. Anyway, that's digressing. I shall come back soon. Right, I've had an idea. I need to free up the these CD60 trays. I'm going to stop calling them that, because you all know what they are now. Have I had an idea? We're having the idea together. Right, okay, so what my idea is, I've got pots here in the greenhouse which had tomatoes in last year, and the tomatoes were cut off at the base, and there's still compost in the bottom that's no good for going in really. But what it does do is creates a base that I can just put some of that wet compost that I'm not overly fussed on for sowing. I can just put on top of it, and then I can sow my radish, my first lot of radish that I don't want to just put in the ground just yet. Ideally, I want them in the polytunnel, but that's not ready. Here's me saying I was ready and everything, but we've just took the chickens out of there and haven't got to that yet. I will. So I'm thinking I could just put them in here and just grow them in pots until, just because I'm going to keep succession sessionally sowing radish and just get them in there for now. So that's what I'm going to do. Right, I've done the same for these red frills mustard as well. So they're probably planted too close together. The other one's down here. There we go. That's the French breakfast. So they probably are too close together for the well, at least for the mustard. I'm not sure if that turns into, let's go back over. I'm not sure if that's just like a frills one as in it grows up and quite thin, or if it's a big mustard. I'm going to check now. But even so, that's done like that. I'm really pleased. It's literally, so there was a few weeds in this pot, which are these, which I've taken out, but it's literally where I've cut down last year's tomato or whatever was growing in, and it's still got the compost in. So there's a few like that, and all I've done is just added compost to the top, because these are going to be quite short-lived, because I will be using these for tomatoes when the time comes. So I've only just added that much compost, well, not even that, and they're quite shallow rooted, I think, so we'll soon see. It sounds like a plan to me. What it has meant is it's freed up this tray, so I'm working just filling it back up with compost as I go along. This is mustard that's clearly got into the dark Rodden lettuce line, so I'm going to leave these lettuce as they are. There we go. And I'm going to plant these up with lettuce that you saw earlier in the seed beds. And I'm not sure, obviously, the basil, why did it, oh, there is one little basil leaf there. Anyway, I'm not sure why I put basil in when it needs heat to germinate, because these guys didn't have heat. But there's a few red baron onions there, which I'm not sure if I'll leave those in or not yet. We'll see, because I'd like all of this tray with lettuce ideally. I might just move those into another. I've got some of the smaller ones. I could just literally rehome them, couldn't I? We'll see. It probably doesn't make any difference. I'm just being particular. Okay, so we have got lettuce red Cimarron romaine and lettuce red cos romaine, and you can see the difference. These guys were put in exactly the same time. I'm just going to pick the best ones out of this end and the best ones out of this end. I'm not sure why that looks a bit different. Maybe that's, anyway, best ones, and I'm going to get them in here. And you know, we don't want too many lettuces, but I want enough that we're going to be able to use them every day, because I'd like to be able to get going all year round with lettuce, because we do have salads all year round. That's the lettuce done. I've left the dark Rodden in, and actually when I've moved some of the soil, there's some basil starting to come through, so I'm just going to leave this side for now. I've got one more of these trays, which I'm going to, do you remember these when I had my little moment the other week? And I didn't put all of these in. Normally I would just put them in a seed tray and prick them out individually. For some reason I sowed them individually. Anyway, what I'm going to do is basically transfer them from this tray into this tray, or maybe a smaller one. I'll count them and I'll see, because some of these are, oh no, I think they're all about ready. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is plant them really deep. I've just pulled this one out to test it, so this can be planted deeply and go back up to its neck, so to speak. Did you see that? Because I wasn't watching the camera. So I'm going to replant this deeply, and then this tray will effectively just be put into this tray, and that'll free that tray up for pricking out and allow those to grow on as if I was just pricking them out from a seed bed. So I think that is rescued. We should be good. I should be good there. Now I know I've got my head in the game. I know what I'm doing now. So one benefit of what I'm doing with pricking these seedlings out is if you have leggy seedlings, so you can get, what do I mean by leggy seedlings? Where you have seedlings that are really tall and spindly, not much girth to them, and they're reaching for the light. So maybe that they've germinated and they've just suddenly just shot up before you've realised, or you've left them a couple of days or whatever it might be. They've basically not had enough light. So there's a couple of things that you can do. One is to sow again, or secondly, if you've got time, that is, which really for everything now, we still have plenty of time. Don't worry if, you know, so-and-so next door is already weeks ahead of you. They're set up and their climate that they can create themselves, whether it's with grow lights or extra heat or whatever. They might just not have a clue, might be first experimenting. Don't worry about what other people are doing. Find out what works for you and stick to it is my advice. But what you can do as well for leggy seedlings, I think I did a video on it some time ago. You can literally bury any seedling. I don't know of any that, okay, celery maybe. There's a vast majority of seedlings, certainly all the ones that I'm working with now, can be buried very deep, up to the necks, as I always say, and just leave the little 2 cotyledons leaves, or however you pronounce that word, sticking out. and they will reroot and grow again nice and strong. Ideally, you don't want them to be leggy in the first place, but that's an option if you do have leggy seedlings. And there we go, all done. So I didn't have enough of the F1 cabbage Caraflex, disappointingly enough. They didn't all come up, so I've added in, I had plenty of the greyhound, so I've put 2 greyhound in there and just put an extra label on. I think these were all from the 12th, but these are the ones that I didn't label in my excitement. I do have it in my notes though, so I'll make sure I update that. I've brought out the diary that Charles Dowden's diary, so I'm going to keep a sit down and work through the dates and the varieties and everything that I've sown when, and also for the dates that I know for germination. That's maybe not for everything, but I've definitely got the varieties and the sowing dates, but possibly not the germination dates. Anyway, this is all done. As you can see, I've just been in for lunch and it's already started drying out the compost, so I'm going to give this a little water in, and any that sink a little bit too far, you see these guys here are sticking up loads, that's just because they're so tall. That compost might sink a bit, I might add a little bit more of vermiculite or whatever. They're not going in the propagator, they will just stay out on the top. And I've got a few more things that I want to get pricked out to do, well, not a few, an absolute load, but these need watering or else I'll forget. Just giving them a couple of little drenches, that'll do, and then when that's soaked through, I'm going to put them up on the side. And while we're talking, I thought it would be worthwhile just talking about, again, I mentioned the bottom heat of in the greenhouse that I've got here. Not everybody has that option, and some people think that when you talk about a heated greenhouse, it means heating the whole air, so that when you come in it's kind of like a sauna or something. That's not the case. If you can get any form of bottom heat, sorry, that's annoying me, any form of bottom heat at all, whether it's like an animal, a reptile mat, or an electric blanket, or be careful watering those, you know, or you get a proper heat mat that's it's supposed to be for seedlings and plants. Anything is an option, but equally you can take your seedlings into the house, as I said, and you can just put them on a windowsill and hopefully germinate in there. If it's seedlings that need more heat, such as the peppers, the chilies and the tomatoes, a little bit less so, but definitely still need more heat than what you would get in an unheated greenhouse, you can just pop them in the warmest room in your house. As soon as they appear, put them next to a windowsill. You don't need to have them on a windowsill to germinate. As soon as they appear, pop them next to a windowsill, and all I do is just turn them round on a morning and on a night. If I'm at home, I turn them round a bit more often because they do tend to lean towards the light. And then as soon as it allows, get them outside, or you can get these really cheap propagators that aren't heated, and you can figure it out as you go along. But don't be put off if you don't have what everybody else has had, because I'm sure not all of us have always had what we've got, and even if we had, everybody's not like that for definite. So I just thought I'd offer that. It's information that I know from experience. I'm just learning as I go along as well, but I have been doing it a little while, so anything that I can share with you, I thought it would be worthwhile doing. So I'll try and include those little bits and pieces as we go through the next few weeks and months into the growing season. Well, that's me done for today. These sorry looking things that you can't really see, let's have a lift up, are the tomatoes that have been pricked out and just watered, so they are looking a little bit droopy and sorry for themselves. They will soon dry out and look more like those guys there. I've also sown some red orac, which is in the single pot, and you've already seen the peppers, so that's what I've been working on. It takes an absolute age to prick out, but it's worth it. What's the other things that I've done? Hang on, let's have a look over here. Those are the lettuce from earlier. This one seems to have given up, but that's okay. And again, these guys look a little bit squished after being watered. I'm sure they will bounce back though, so I'm going to go and close the greenhouse doors. Stephen's just been in, left those open. We're looking at about 13 degrees in here at the moment. That'll pick back up as soon as I get those doors closed, if the sun comes out at all. I've closed all the vents on the propagator. These could be inside, as I keep saying, but I'm just choosing them to keep them outside for space. Tend to forget about them more when they're inside. But next up, look at this. These are onions. This is not an onion seed, so rebel seedling, and I believe this is also probably a radish seed as well that's been in the compost or something. But everything else is looking well. Can you tell me what to do with the dill? Do I prick it out and sow it, grow it individually in pots? You know, does one seedling produce one dill herb? I've not actually grown it from seed before, so I need some help on that. And then next up, I'm going to be working on all of these and all of these. And all the turnip, I should have sown these in multi-sown in cells. I got everything the wrong way around initially, didn't I? So I'm going to figure out how to manage that situation. I'm not going to do it now. I think that's me about done. I've been summoned to help with a job. So that's about it for now. Oh, look. Look. Hello. Right, I better go before I get shouted at. Time Stephen shouts me, I'm worse than the kids. I'll be like, yeah, 2 minutes, 2 minutes. And then I don't, because I get distracted. Right, I'll be back soon. Just wanted to check in. It's Sunday morning and it didn't get below 3 in here last night. I did check with Charles Dowdin's his books and things, and it said as long as the nighttime temperatures don't get below 10 in your house, he was talking about, then the tomatoes and peppers will be fine. This is maintaining at 24 now, and because it can increase by 15 degrees, you know, if it gets down to 10, it'll keep this at 25. So if it gets below 10 or even goes to 0, it'll keep it at 15 degrees Celsius or centigrade there. So we should be good keeping them in the propagator, the peppers and the tomatoes. They're looking, the ones yesterday that looked really sad, as I said, thankfully they have picked up. So I was hopeful that they would. The things that aren't under heat though are still looking quite sad and sorry for themselves, but they will come back, they'll pick up, they'll be absolutely fine. Anyway, busy on with other things. I just wanted to look at those guys, up and away now. I just wanted to check in with you and let you know what's happening, what the temperature's been, and what I've learned about the propagator. Back out in the greenhouse. I'm not entirely sure where this week's gone, so totally missed the middle of the week with work and dark nights and decorating inside the house. We've been doing absolutely all sorts in there, and it's the first time that I've come out here in the daylight to actually do anything for quite a while. I come out every morning and I'm checking that the propagator's okay, that the temperature's okay, seeing how low we've gone on a night. We only got down to 3.2 last night, but as I said, did I say? I can't remember. We are due some really big minus temperatures starting tonight for about the next week, so below freezing every night. I think we're going to get down to -3 or -4 one night, so I'm going to have to really stay on top of this propagator. Should be fine to keep things growing. So I just need to make sure sometimes when you close the lid, it doesn't line up properly, so there's a little gap. So I'm just going to have a little look around. I can see already those broad beans are flying up. And we'll check in again. Sorry, this one's almost, all of it's just been in the greenhouse really, hasn't it? But I guess that's just a reflection of the time of year and where we are. So it's about the seeds. And then I'm going to tell you what I'm thinking about these plants that are still just sat looking at me. Because the garlic, I really wanted to get that out, but it's too late, not too late as in I could put it out now, but because we're as in literally at the time of day we're at, I mean not the time of year, but it's going to be dark anytime soon. So what I'm thinking is we're going to get to -2 tonight. In the morning I'm going to get up, and where in that bed there's some onion seeds, onion sets that I put in. They're just starting to peek through. I think I'll get that garlic put in out there tomorrow. Garlic really likes a cold snap, so looking at the silver lining of the cold snap, that's going to be really beneficial to that. It helps garlic split. Anyway, let's have a little look where we are. I'm just doing this before I feed the horses. They're in the barn over there. It's really dark in there already. So where are we? All of these things are looking good. The shallots are absolutely flying up, considering that they were nothing. And I was questioning if they'd come. Looks like this one's still making its mind up about life, and this one too. But all the rest are looking really good, so they're ready to go out as well. Same for all of these plants here, but if you remember what happened to the kale earlier in the video, or last week, no, it was earlier in this video, it got eaten outside, so I need to be super careful because these have been so good. I don't want to lose them. Anyway, everything else is looking really good. Very pleased with this. The white fly seem to not be a problem anymore. Hopefully that's sorted. I did hear from a few people on that, so hang on. You're not just looking at the plant the whole time, although it might be better than looking at me the whole time. A few people said washing up liquid, so fairy liquid or the equivalent, and water, so soapy water, that's the phrase I'm looking for, in a squirty bottle, and squirting that on the plants that are affected by the whitefly deters them or gets rid of them. The other one that I thought, wow, why didn't I think of that myself, was diatomaceous earth. So we use that as a natural dewormer and to get rid of mites in the chicken coops and all of the things. We've used it for different things for the horses before. It's you can get a food grade one, hence the dewormer, but I believe there's even a human. Anyway, let's not go down that path in case I make somebody ill. So if you can use that, you literally apparently just sprinkle it on the plants, and because it's like a crushed up glass almost, tiny particles, and that might be a fantastic organic slug repellent. Thinking of that, I'm also going to be using eggshells, but that's for another day, because we're going to run out of time and light here very soon. So let's have a quick look at the seedlings that we pricked out. They're already looking like they're needing potting on again. So these guys are just flying up. I might have to put some of those really taller ones on, we'll see. These ones over here, look at the basil. That little clump there wants to live, even though it likes warm environments. This hard frost might knock it back a bit. These red onions here, I'm going to be able to get those in over this weekend. These Kelsey onions aren't looking too happy for some reason. Out the way. For some reason they look really damp, and these are really dry, so I'm not sure what's happened there. Maybe something's leaking from the greenhouse roof. These blackcurrant bushings blackcurrant bush cuttings, easy for me to say, are doing really well. And these were the peas, the alderman peas that we put in. Were they for shoots? If so, they're pretty much ready. Oh my goodness, that's so exciting. The garlic, as you guys have seen multiple times, I got some beetroot bold hardy in this week. I'll talk to you on the next video about, I've run out of the seed trays, so we knew it was going to happen. We expected it. But yeah, got some beetroot bold hardy in. Let's go over here. I've left the little one in there. I thought that was amusing. Other things are starting to poke through. You can see this coriander is coming through, but it looks a little bit dry. Red Baron onion. Things are looking good, I'm pleased. These peas, Champion of England and alderman, they are for going outside, so they're not for shoots. These are all of the different onions as well. The dill, the celeriac and the celery, I don't expect much to happen with the celeriac and the celery, because I think I've put them in wrong, but we'll talk about that on the next one. And these are the red Welsh onions. I think these are the perennials, is that right? The parsley, Italian giant parsley. So apparently just as you give up on this, that's when it starts to grow. So I'm hoping they're not weeds at the back. I haven't managed to get through to any of these to prick these out yet. I'm going to give them a little bit of a water because they can take it. I'm hopefully going to hear from you guys on the dill if I need to prick those out individually or just plant clumps. And look at the size of these bad boys. They are doing amazingly. And we have here some of the Florence fennel have decided to come through. A couple have decided not to bother, and then we've got some of the radish which can also go in hopefully this weekend. Let's see how we get on. And I've also, let me step up, oh, these are the sugar snap and the sugar snap, and what's the other one, Monge 2. Oh, it's written there in front of me, so I got these in this week as well, so I'm really pleased. Things are starting to look good, but I do need to be careful with this cold snap coming, as I keep saying. So it is Friday night now. The light is fading despite what the camera looks like, as I always say, and I'm going to go and get my jobs done out here before the light disappears completely. And I'm looking forward to a really early start in the morning, so let's see what life throws at me to make sure that that doesn't happen. Anyway, we will be over, where are we? Over there in the shed, first thing in the morning. Let's see how low it gets to. It's predicted to be -2, so I'll open up the video tomorrow with that and let you know, because you know, at my age, what the weather's going to do and what's happening in the greenhouse is rock and roll. That's how I roll these days. Thank you for watching. Please, as always, keep those comments coming. I am thrilled with how many comments we've been getting, and I don't always get to reply straight away. I do like to give them the proper time to reply. I don't want to just give you a thumbs up or something like that. So I don't always get to them as quickly as maybe some people would like, but I tend to try to reply to every single one. So thank you. Please do give the video a thumbs up though, and I will hopefully talk to you in the comments. If not, hope you enjoyed watching it. See you later.